Make no little plans, they have no magic to stir men's blood.
With the devil in me. I could not help the fact that I was a murderer, no more than the poet can help the inspiration to sing.
In 1889, in Paris, on the Champ de Mars, France opened the Exposition Universelle, a world's fair so big and glamorous and so exotic that visitors came away believing no exposition could surpass it. To America, this humiliation could not be allowed to stand. The following year, the decision for the location of America's World's Fair was chosen.
Burnham and Root were selected as the lead designers of the Chicago World's Fair. That is, until...
You won't leave me, will you?
No, Root, I won't leave you.
Do you hear that? The wonderful music. It's the most beautiful music I've ever heard. Sir! Sir! Wake up! No!
Meanwhile, a man under the alias of H.H. Holmes arrives in Chicago. While in medical school, Holmes and a fellow student talked about how easy it would be for one of them to buy life insurance, make the other the beneficiary, then use a cadaver to fake the death of the one insured. Holmes began his elaborate plan by purchasing a pharmacy in Englewood.
This kiln does not allow me to obtain the necessary amount of heat for my glass bending.
I'll work on that.
Only later did the furnace man recognize the kiln's peculiar shape and extreme heat made it ideal for another, very different application. The general plan of the furnace was not unlike that of a crematory for dead bodies.
With dedication day quickly approaching, the architects met more and more often.
The Eastern and Chicago architects met again on Monday morning, January 12th, in the library on the top floor of the rookery. The tension was palpable. America's pride in its growing power and international stature had fanned patriotism to a new intensity. The nation needed an opportunity to top the French, in particular, to out-Eiffel Eiffel. Each new idea seemed worse than the last. The architects grew tired and frustrated. They were running out of time.
Dedication Day had already passed, but the architects had yet to find something that would surpass the Eiffel Tower. Finally, George Washington Gale Ferris presented his idea.
As the architects planned the fair, Holmes began to plan his own masterpiece, his Castle of Horrors. In 1891, Holmes hired Emmeline Cigrand as his personal secretary. After a brief courtship, Holmes asked her to marry him. However, the marriage did not last long.
Emmeline Cigrand was never seen again, but she left her mark.
Holmes quickly moved on.
By the opening of the World's Fair, Holmes had found another victim by the name of Minnie Williams. He invited her sister Anna and took them both to the fair.
But it was all a facade. Holmes had more than just the fair on his mind.
Anna, dear, would you be so kind as to get those papers for our Europe trip in the closet for me?
Oh, that closet. Okay,
Yes.
dear Harry, brother. Did you say something here?
No! Did you find them yet?
No, I'm still looking.
Both Holmes and Burnham were successful in their endeavors.
Despite the recent fire in the cold storage building, the number of people who came to the fair continued to rise.
Hello?
Congratulations, sir. The total admissions for today is 751,026. You have surpassed the numbers of the Paris Exposition.
My word! This calls for a celebration!
After the closing of the fair, a series of investigations were launched in order to find the woman who reported missing. Eventually, Detective Geyer tracked down the clues which led to the arrest of Holmes. Holmes was hanged and charged with the murder of many women and the Pitzel children.
The stories of Holmes and Burnham illustrate the battle between good and evil. However, despite the evil lurking beneath the wonder of the fair was still an overall success. As in many cases, good prevailed over evil.